Hello there, my name is Ismail and welcome to Top Channel 101. So today we are going to be doing a sci-fi training series. Let's do a sci-fi corridor scene and see how that goes. Yes, so let's get started with part one. I already have my shortcuts turned on and I have a simple setup here with my camera view up here. I have switched out the outliner for the 3D view so that I can view my camera through that view because I usually never use the outliner, so that's why I'm switching that out. So let's start by creating a sci-fi corridor. Since I'm not very good at sketching, I'm just going to block this out using a few polygons, and then we can add more details later like that. So yeah, let's begin with a plane, a simple plane. Maybe let's add a circle. Let's align to view, and since this is going to be a sci-fi corridor, let's go with around 8 vertices. How is that? Let's try 6. That is too basic for me, so what about that? No, let's try 8 and then rotate these 45 degrees. Rotate 45. Rotate, how many degrees are these? I think it's around 20 or 25. So I'm trying to get this shape to be straight at the bottom here, and that will be our flow. So let me move this up around here, maybe move this pivot point. Let me just move the pivot point to that edge. So Shift S, cursor to selected, and then origin to 3D cursor, so that when I scale up my scene, I'm scaling it from that point. So can select this, extend this to be this tall, to be this long. What I'm going to do is make this modular so that we can change this to whatever we want, to whatever shapes we want. So instead of modeling the entire thing in one go, I'm just going to make a few pieces and then add them together. So let's reposition the camera maybe a bit. Select this, I will rotate this like this. Somewhere like that. So yeah, we have our shape, and I can add an array to see how this would fit together. This would be in the, let me also apply the rotation so that we get the right relative offset here. Should be in the y direction, so something like that. If you want, you can give this some thickness using the solidify modifier. Something like that. But let's first not do that yet because we want to add in a few details. So I can add a loop cut here, then snap. Let me see. Then snap the 3D cursor to this part here. Shift S, cursor to selected, and then origin to 3D cursor, and delete this part, and then add the mirror modifier. Make sure that it's above the array, and it's in the axis is the y axis, so that when we make any changes here, they're repeated by the array and also mirrored by our mirror modifier. Let me see how this looked. You know what? I think I like this design. So let's see how this would look. So if I added a loop cut here, delete these parts, this other side, also add a mirror modifier for that side. Maybe we can add another loop here select these edge loops, push them outside like this. I think this gives us a very interesting look that I don't think I've seen before, because this kind of shape has been done a lot for sci-fi corridors. So let's find a way to make it more interesting. So let's add another loop here and select this part, push that out like that. Before we do that, let's see if I push this out. I'm getting some issues here. I don't know if how should we fix this? So if I bring a loop here and then here, so add a loop. If I add a loop here, subdivide, push this like this. If we add a loop here, and bevel that, nah, it's not working. If we add a loop here, I push this up, snap this. Yeah, let's just go with this here. The problem, I don't like this part here, how this is adding that part. So let's see if I just merge this here, how would that look on the inside? I think it's okay. So let's dissolve that part and again merge this with this, and then dissolve that edge. Yeah, I think this is a cool design. So let's add a flow, and for that I want the flow to take up the shape of this part here. So let's add a plane, Shift A, plane, then scale it up like this, and then I think we can use a boolean here. So if we add a boolean to this mesh, then select this as the object, change this to difference. So let's see, intersect. Let's first hide this and see how that looks. Intersect, union, difference. Before we add the boolean, let's extrude this down, and let's see if that would help. So that is difference, union, intersect. It doesn't do much, so just want to follow the profile here. So let's see how I can get that without putting in too much effort. So let's delete the bottom part here. Actually, the way to get it to work, to get the boolean to work, we would need to first fill this part, and let's first turn off the array, and then I think that is how you get the boolean to work. This part should not have a hole in it, so we would add then the boolean like this, and then select the object. So if we hide, let's see, where is our object? Let's try union. Still not working. Let's see, maybe this also needs to have some edits to it. So let's try again. Yeah, so this is intersect, that's difference, intersect, union. I'm really not sure why it's not working, but we are getting the shape we want. So I'll just apply this and hide, and then I can delete these extra vertices that we don't need. and yeah, we already have the shape. Also remove doubles because it seems we do have some doubles here. Let me merge them. Merge center, merge center, then fill in with F. If we unhide, now we can delete these extra faces, bring back the array. So this is supposed to be our flow, but I think it's too high. Is it? Yeah, it's too high, so I need to bring it down a bit. I guess I would have to scale it down as well. Let's go to the top here. I'll also add a cut here. I'll utilize the mirror modifier for this part to make my job a bit easier. So select these parts, select these two, so then extrude. Before we extrude, let's just remove reduce this end gun. And it seems we do have some doubles, so let me remove those. And I don't think we need to extrude. We can just use the solidify modifier. Now we can add in a few details here. So let me first hide everything else, and also remove this end gun by adding a cut there and adding a cut there. Now if we add a loop here, I can select this loop, hold on Ctrl B to bevel it, or actually maybe what we can do is just insert this loop here, this face here, then add maybe 2 loops, make sure they are straight. Then select these, extrude them in like this. Just adding a few details here, and I can select these edges here. They're going to be a bit hard to select. I think we can also just add a loop here so that we only deal with one side of things, and the rest the mirror modifier can take care. So let's add the mirror modifier again, make sure it's above the solidify. So we just need, I want to make these a bit rounded, so select that and these. I'm not going to worry about polygon count because I'm just making these, I'm not making a game asset, I'm just making something that should look good. So maybe I can also round off these parts here. Just adding some interesting details to our scene like that. And I think we have some doubles here. So we need to turn on clipping and make sure that those parts merge correctly. We are having some shading issues here, so we can go under these settings here, object data settings, and then under normals turn on auto smooth to have a better smoothing. Then unhide everything and see this is going to be our flow. Then we can also give it the array modifier, make sure this is in the Y direction. Let's see, why is it not fitting. So this array is set to 1 1. So this should fit in this space here. So let's get it to be like that. So I'll select this part, drag it like that, and so the next array should also begin at that point. Let's try 0.3, 0.5, 0.55, 0.53, yeah, somewhere like that. I think this camera is rotated in the wrong direction, so I'll rotate it again, something like that. Now we can add more sections and also add another floor like that. So we're missing a gap here, so what I can do here for this portion here, let me see if I can select that part, add a plane, scale this, make sure it's the same level, then apply scale and rotation, and add a few loops in and in this direction as well. So we want to add something like a cage here, but we don't want it to be squares like this. We want to be diagonals, quads. I don't know, are they called quads? Like kites, I don't know. You're going to see what I mean here. So if we add a decimate modifier and change the subdivision to unsubdivide, and the iterations to think 1, let's go to wireframe mode. You can see the shape we're going for. If it's 0, it's like that. 1 gives you that. If you go to 2, it again dissolves the vertices, creating squares. Then this will give you this shape again. But let's use this here and then apply. When you're in object mode, you don't really see the difference, but in edit mode, you can see what we have. So we need to turn these into into a cage. So for that, let's add a wireframe modifier, and we can increase the thickness a bit. Maybe that's too much, so let's try something like that. And again, let's use an array. And this should be in the same axis, the y-axis, and this, just make sure that it aligns. So this is what we have, and you can see we have created some gaps here. Let me see if I can get that. A few gaps here, so we can add some interesting design here as well. So let's do that. Let me see if I can add a loop here that I can instead use. Let me turn on the mirror modifier here. It won't work. So basically what I want to do is let me add a plane here. So it will just be a continuation of this cage. So like this. And move it same level. Now let's add a mirror here. Sorry, let's add a loop here so that we can use the mirror modifier. Maybe we'll not use the mirror modifier. I don't know. We'll see. So let's bring this to the same level as that and start pushing these vertices around so that they match the shape. So there. Make sure there is little space between those, and then we can add a loop, I think, around here, and then extend this edge loop to be somewhere there. So we have this shape. We need to push this edge so that it's not intersecting with that, and also push this so we have that. I think we can get rid of this edge loop, so we have something like that. Apply rotation and scale. We also need to add the same vertices like here. So I'm not sure how we're going to do this because I want them to follow the same pattern here. So let's see. If I add a loop here, straighten that up, I can add maybe a few loops like that. Then for this part, I'm not sure if they should be straight. Let's see if we think we can merge this part here, these vertices there, connect these. Let's just make the cuts directly. So I think perfect. And then for this area we can just remove we can't dissolve this edge, but we can turn it into a face like this, so we have those vertices. Now we can try making cuts and see how this looks. We'll see what pattern we get from this after we add the wire mesh. So let's add the wireframe. See, this is what we have, and also let's add the decimate above that. Change this to unsubdivide. Change the iterations to 2. I think we have a lot of gaps here, so I think I also like this pattern here that we are getting there, so that's not too bad. Let's subdivide this. It's a bit, there's a lot of mess here, so let's see. I think we need to reduce the resolution here. I think if we remove this edge loop and this here, we also need, maybe let's join this like this. Okay, so we have that pattern. I actually like this pattern here, so let's go for that pattern. So if I add a loop here, I think that pattern is created by triangles. So I can select this loop and hold on Ctrl T to get that pattern there, and I'll also do the same for this part here. Ctrl T, and I'll get that pattern. Select this up to here, Ctrl T to get that pattern. Let me first remove some of these edge loops, connect these to this, like that, this to this, and remove some of these extra polygons. I need these to be slight. This should be like that. Seems we have a small issue here. Let's try merging this with this. Okay, so that was causing the problem. Let's reduce the thickness here, and I think this line here is a bit too small, so let's do that and see. Then remove these triangles, select this, Ctrl T to triangulate. Do the same here. We need to first remove this edge loop and then triangulate this to get that pattern. We have to do the same for this part. Then triangulate that. We don't need that extra loop. Same here. I think, yeah, we have a lot of loops going on here, so we need to reduce those. So this T, we need to get rid of this. And I think we need to add a loop around there. Then this should be connected to this here, and we need to remove this, and this here. Not perfect, but just want to do something unique here. So this connected with this, we need to remove these vertices here, merge them to the center, merge these at the center as well. Again, we need that pattern there, like that, like that, maybe like that. I think that's good enough. So we can also apply a mirror modifier in the Y direction. Maybe for this part we can remove those triangles. Let's quit this. Small details. but I think this is too much detail here. So what we can do is what I'm thinking is we can have that mesh around here. So maybe add that. Then the inside part here, can be its own face. Like that. Let's see under this made this made. I thought we had maybe a group face. So let's separate this part here into its own object. Remove this mate and wireframe for this new object. Move decimate and wireframe. So this is what we have for that part. I don't know how it looks, but we shall go with that for now. I think we can apply the decimate here and the wireframe so that we can join the two here into a single object, and then we can give it set its origin to the cursor so that we can mirror this on the x-axis as well. If we go to shading mode, turn on ambient occlusion, turn on screen space reflections. This is what we have so far. You can see the flow is detailed, and yeah, we just need to add in a few details in different areas. So we'll do that in the next part. Thank you.